Hari Om. Can you all hear me? You all doing good? Much better. Definitely a lot of improvement. Much better. Before we can start, मैं यहाँ सिंगर्स को देख रहा हूँ. श्री विद्या जी, आपको विवाह दिनमिदं गाना आता है? विवाह दिनमिदं भवतु हर्षदम्. फोल्डर निकाल लो ना. मिला? 29. या पेज नंबर 29. All three of them are three different ragas, but it sounds similar. It's different. Maggie, it's different. तैयार हो तुसी? ट्राई करते हैं. अरे ट्राई करते हैं ना. I am the image online, okay? Nobody will see you. ठीक है, ट्राई करते हैं. Shivati, let's try. The reason is our dear S.V. Anand and Deepa ji are celebrating their wedding anniversary today. इतने भोले हो, आज पहली बार पता चल रहा. चलो, let's wish them. 1, 2, 3, start. विवाह दिनमिदं भवतु हर्षदं मंगलं तथा वां च क्षेमदं प्रतिदिनं नवं प्रेम वर्धतां शतगुणं कुलं सदा हि मोदतां लोकसेवया देवपूजनं गृहस्थजीवनं भवतु मोक्षदं गृहस्थजीवनं भवतु मोक्षदं. Happy wedding anniversary. Thank you for the support. उसके बाद वाला भी, graduation, New Year. So in this particular chapter, what did we cover last week? One is the preparedness to be eligible. Viveka Vairagya. Shamadamadi Shadguna Sampatti. Shama. Shama means control of mind. Dhamma is control of organs of perception and action. See, for some, it has to be an external organs that have to be first controlled so that the mind can be controlled. And there are some for who it works if the mind is controlled, the external organs can be controlled. Net result, both are like feedback loop. You control the mind, thereby you control the external organs. You control the external organs, thereby you control the mind. Both of them strengthen each other. If you are, say, on Shivaratri, you want to fast. Nirjala. Nirjala meaning nothing burnt will be eaten. Nothing, not even a drop of water. And if there is a chocolate cake or chatpatedar something, Haji? Golgappe, okay. We know what to entice her with. Maybe to remove those things away would be a helpful environment, starting from the external discipline. For some, when they make that resolve, their mind is strong, that even if it is there, it doesn't distract. That's a good place to be. But to construct that kind of a resolved mind, you have to start somewhere. Now you know where you are. You don't want to put yourself in a place where it is enticing and then mouth is watering and then you say, मुझसे नहीं होता. अगले शिवरात्रि से करूँगा मैं, from next शिवरात्रि. If that is the kind of resolve, then better start with the external discipline. If the mind is a little fine-tuned one and you can have that and you can not get distracted, then start with Shama. Shama, control of mind. Dama, control of organs of perception. For controlling the organs of perception, you need discipline. For controlling the mind, we should have the ability to uplift the mind beyond the chaos of the immediate surroundings. And one best way to uplift the mind is when we can dedicate that mind for something subtler and higher than selfish motives. The moment we can find a platform where it can dedicate, instantly we will find that the resolve to stand up becomes stronger. But for many of us, we have models, but no role models. कौन सी मॉडल, कौन से कार, कौन से बॉयफ्रेंड के साथ, कितनी बार, कहाँ, we have a whole list of it and we are very thorough with it. Role model as say भगवान श्री रामचंद्र जी, रामायण कभी पढ़ा ही नहीं. Thanks to रामानंद सागर, जो तब देख लिया सो देख लिया. Beyond that, we have not studied Ramayana. Whether it is Tulsi Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, Ananda Ramayana, Mulla Ramayana, the multiple, Kamba Ramayana, there are several Ramayans. Not even the English translation of it. Now, am I assuming it or is it the reality? How many of us have read any one of these above stated Ramayans? The English translation at least. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. जितने हाथ उठे हैं उससे ज़्यादा हाथ नहीं उठे हैं. पढ़ना तो चाहिए. Otherwise, where will we find that role model? Having not studied anybody pointing a finger at Bhagwan Rama or Bhagwan Shri Krishna, we start becoming either apologetic or defensive. Why? We ourselves don't have clarity. Why did Rama do this? Nowadays nobody asks me those questions because my first question is, तू पूछने वाला कौन? What have you studied to make this point to say that Rama has done this or not done this? Do you have any clarity? Don't tell me that it was Amar Chitra Katha. That's an okay start, but that's not the place where you stop. Where did you get this information from? Oh, somebody said this. For somebody having said it, why am I responsible to take being a defensive or apologetic to it? Where is the proof of what you're saying? Because if you study truly, none of these doubts will ever stay. Second, once we study, then we can take up any one such objection by their horns and snap it out. The more we study, the more we have clarity to what to dedicate. That is the role model. I keep telling so many times in the last 21 years, I have been saying that my role model has been Prahlada, Nachiketa and Dhruva. Of them, I find the most brilliant is Nachiketa. Unbeatable fellow. Listening or thinking of Bhagwan Yama Dharmaraja, लोगों के पसीने छूट जाते हैं. Looking at Nachiketa, Yama had quite a troubled time. This little kid, with the sharpness of questions that he had asked, Yama tried a lot of methods. This fellow would not budge. That's called a role model. If the kind of enticements that Yama gave, if you and I were standing, thank you जी, मैं कुछ और पूछने वाला था, बस आपने दे दिया तो दे दिया, thank you, and we would have come back. This fellow didn't give up. In fact, he had the audacity to tell Yamadharmaraja, he says, Tavaiva vahas tavanritya gite. All these enticements that you are showing, तू अपने पास रख और खुद नाच, मुझे तो नहीं चाहिए. If you cannot give me this as my third boon, keep your third boon also with you. I don't care. What a clarity. When you have such role models to dedicate your mind to, it automatically lifts itself above all the chaos that is happening around. Chaos, confusions, and the crab mentality to pull everything down. How does one not get affected? You come above. There is a higher standpoint. And at that higher standpoint, nothing of this chaos can touch you. And because it has no ability to touch you, it cannot deplete you of your inspiration or energy. That inspiration energy now dedicated automatically brings your organs of perception action also into fine tuning. They cannot run away far. If that shama, control of mind, is difficult, okay, then start with dhamma. Shama and dhamma go hand in hand. One is control of mind, shama, the other is control of organs of perception action. Organs of perception and action can be controlled through self-discipline. That's important. It has to be self-discipline. If it is thrust on you, see, when we were children, if there was a discipline thrust on us, what would be the coolness factor? To rebel is mediocre. To break it and not get caught, that is the coolness. This was what was expected of me and I broke it and nobody could catch me. I am the coolest. Why? It was thrust from outside. But if it is invoked from within, even if there are challenges, we don't give up on it soon. Little chocolate cake will not distract. ठीक है रखो, कल खाऊंगा मैं. गोलगप्पे खाओ, मेरे लिए कल भी बनाना, मैं कल आके खाऊंगा, आज नहीं, अब नहीं. Why? I have invoked it on myself, it is not thrust on me, therefore I am not trying to break it. So discipline, self-discipline. Dedication, dedication to a higher role model. Shama, Dama. In spite of these preparations, life has its own curves that it will throw at us. And life is not something that will wait for us to give it our permission saying, now you can give me the experience. Ab main tayar hu. No. It is like a floodgate. It will keep consistently coming. And it seems like we have a tendency to remember and go through pain more intimately than joy. Joyous moments seem to fly by. Painful, miserable moments seem to drag through. If life is a pendulum where there is joy and there is pain, and the law of pendulum, if it swings this way, it swings the other way, and both have to be equally distanced. But for us, if this is the pendulum where this side is joy and this side is misery, how does our pendulum swing? It seems like that. That when we go through the joy, it is like when we go through misery, when you are meeting your friend, you have not met in 5-6 years, रात खाना खाने के बाद बैठे, सवेरा कब हुआ पता ही नहीं चला, right? When did it suddenly, like 6-7 hours passed by? You sit in a lecture, every 5 minutes you are looking at the watch. बाप रे, this is so boring. अबे 5 मिनट भी नहीं हुआ. So we seem to dwell more in misery than joy and joyous moments. Everybody will have joy, everybody will have misery. It's not the same kind, but we will go through it. Whether it is at a physical level, whether it is at an emotional level or an intellectual level, misery at all levels, each one of us experiences it. How many of you have migraine? I've never had headaches. Do you know my reason why? हेडेक होने के लिए हेड होना पड़ता है. Those who go through migraines, they say it is a torture. Which part of the body when gets affected is not a torture? Toothache, torture. Eye pain, torture. Kamarband, torture. Gutna, torture. Any pain that we go through is going to be like that. Physical level, there is going to be something. Emotional level, मुझे कोई नहीं समझता. Nobody understands me. Nobody cares for me. No, जब बच्चे कहते हैं ना, it looks cute. Nobody cares for me. Or you do that, stand in front of a mirror and see your own face. We look ugly doing those things. But that torture is there from within. Unequipped instruments, unprepared me, when life unfolds itself, it doesn't seek that permission. It is like a floodgate open, and when it hits to this unprepared mind, which seems to have given a lot of affinity towards miserable moments because we seem to roll in it more often and remember it and reminiscent on it more often than the joys and joyous moments. When life happens, we are unprepared. That it is like a whirlpool and it drags us and drags us. It hits us to the bottom. Anybody good swimmer here? अरे खुद को बोलने दो यार. Are you a good swimmer, sir? Anybody else? स्विमिंग का ही मुझे क्वेश्चन मार्क मिल रहा है, तो बाकी जो पूछने वाला था वो है not good or anything. I can not drown for at least few hours. Oh, you are my kind. My swimming, the way I define it is, I can sink delayed. That is my swimming skill. Those who have good skill and they go surfing, you know, when that wave rises up against which you are pitching yourself, if you go 1 inch, few degrees in a wrong angle, that is when we see that it is not flowing waters, but it is a rigid wall. And when that wall collapses on us, it sinks us, like hits us with that vehement force straight to the bottom. Why? Because this person was not ready for it, not prepared for it. Life also takes that kind of a hit. And we have this intricate knack to align up all things which are not happening and victimize ourselves and present ourselves as victimized. At a physical level I have this, at an emotional level I have this, and the environment also. Everything is going against me only. It's not that everything is aligned. It is that we are focused only on that. When such life happens, how should we be? That mental tenacity is called titiksha. Shama, Dama, Titiksha. I think I missed Uparama. I'll come to it. Probably I have more affinity towards titiksha because I love that concept. I jumped to titiksha. And this is the concept which Bhagavan Krishna starts with Bhagavad Gita. The 14th shloka of 2nd chapter. Tan titikshasva bharata. When life happens, what should be the attitude? Titiksha should be the attitude. What does titiksha mean? Word translation of titiksha is fortitude or endurance. And in English there is a saying, that which cannot be changed has to be endured. It feels so pathetic. Ab kya kare? What can be done? Life. Suck up to it now. The best attitude of endurance is when we know how to mock at our own miseries and bring a smile on our own face. If I have the ability to smile and joke about my own misery, nobody can pull me down because of my misery or miserable circumstances. And here we are sitting on that funny edge, wherein you tell the reality and you call it as body shaming. अब फैट को फैट नहीं बोलेंगे तो और क्या बोलेंगे? सीधी सी बात है. क्यों कार्तिक? बॉल्ड को बॉल्ड नहीं बोलेंगे तो और क्या बोलेंगे? Right? And never tell scary stories to a bald man. Why? There is no hair to stand. बॉल्ड को बॉल्ड नहीं बोलना चाहिए, फैट को फैट नहीं बोलना चाहिए, काले को काला नहीं बोलना चाहिए, सफेद को सफेद नहीं बोलना चाहिए. What? Body shaming. They're facts. We have become so sensitive that the sensibility is lost. I've said this several times in several different contexts. Sensitivity is always a disease. There is a toothpaste that is sold, Sensodyne. Do you know what it is meant for? For sensitive teeth. Why? Sensitivity is a disease. I am sensitive. Chi, hato. You are a disease. Sensitivity is a disease. Sensibility is being in balance. We have lost that sensibility. We are like that touch me not. Have you seen that plant? थोड़ा सा छुओ तो सिकुड़ जाते हैं. Why? I'm sensitive. Even at a physical level, if we are that sensitive, what about the rest of the levels where we have to make the huge growth process? Am I getting across? I don't like stand-up comedy because in the name of stand-up comedy, they are nothing but abusive, uncultured presentation. But of that lot, I like one fellow, Gabriel Iglesias. Have you seen it? He is a 6'2", 320 pounds. He himself calls it as, don't call me fat. I am fluffy in certain areas. I will not say it, but you understand what she said. If you didn't, catch her and ask her the meaning later. So the guy goes on the stage, hundreds and thousands of people are there. He is fat, but he has the courage to poke fun at himself. Nobody else can touch him. He has that immunity. Why? He has not only accepted it, he knows how to laugh at it. Nobody can touch such person. That person is not a vulnerable person. So what is titiksha? That mental capacity wherein you are not just enduring the situation for you cannot avoid it, but also know how to enjoy it. Which means you have now transformed from being sensitive to being sensible. You have hit a balance. Uparama. Uparama means swadharma anusthana. Not being distracted by someone else's responsibility or life, but be focused on my life, my responsibilities. Otherwise, most of us will get distracted by our own eczema. Any doctor here? No doctor? Just wanting to find the definition of eczema. Okay, anybody know the definition of eczema? The most important thing is it is so itchy that you get satisfaction only when you scratch the heck out of it. You stop, it hurts. You continue, you feel the pleasure of it, but it is causing more misery. So we have this eczema, wherein our own responsibility we will neglect, and we have the time to comment on everybody else's responsibility. Why? We are distracted. Distracted to the point wherein we neglect our own life and responsibilities. To a point wherein we have concluded that our own responsibilities, meaning my own life, has become a burden. In any language, especially Indian languages, our responsibilities are equated most of the time to a burden. Kaam ka, fill in the blanks. Boj. Badhyata, Telugu. What is the word that goes with it? Baruvu. Burden. Baruvu badhyatalu. My own life, my own experiences, my own responsibilities. Why am I running away from it? Because it is a burden. Kaam ka boj. The funny thing is, wherever you run to, what will happen to this kaam ka boj? It will unfold exactly there. एक फेमस डायलॉग है, भाग सकते हो बच नहीं सकते. You can run wherever. And you left India, came here. Did it change? No. Wherever you go, Haridwar, Rishikesh. Many people come to Mangalam. When we have camps and YAP courses. This year we are launching YAP again. So YAP course में आते हैं तो स्वामी जी क्या शांति है. I never expected that it will be so peaceful. And unmercifully, I asked them, when are you leaving? क्या स्वामी जी अभी अभी तो आए हैं. Now I have to maintain the peace of this place. It's not that place is to give you peace. The peace has to be my integral component. Why am I not at peace? Because I am not at terms with my own life and its unfolding called responsibilities. To distract, what do? I poke my unnecessary nose into everybody else's affair. This is one English term that which I despise. Is if I were you, bloody heck you are not. Stay in your own limit. You are not. You cannot even fathom. Go do your responsibility. See, Bhagavan Krishna also did not intrude into Pandava's life until the Pandavas called him for help. If when called upon, do give your wisdom to them. If not, is it your responsibility? If I were you, you are not. Back up, back off. Focus on what? To execute my responsibility flawlessly. And there is a huge room of improvement, however much we may want to. Because we are in the route towards perfection. The moment we claim that we are already perfect, we have stopped living. So focus on your responsibilities, first aspect. While you are focusing at it, what should be the attitude? That the mind uparameti is reveling closest to the peaceful chamber within. For most of us, when we want to execute our responsibility, what are we focused on? Our fears, our anxieties, our various shades of it. Is it taking us to that peace within? Constant vichara, constant vigilance on it. Why? On the Indian roads there is a wisdom, especially the mountainous paths. Nazar hati, durghatna ghati. Then we can find some scapegoat to blame on. That's a different issue. But the accident happens because I have taken my eyes off my goal. So focus on that responsibility. And while executing it, it should take us closer to that peace within. How? How do we reach to that peace within, which takes us above and beyond these layers of anxiety? By doing it selflessly, Not just Sunday Balavihar program. Every single facet of our day to day, any single activity, it has to be done selflessly and not for a selfish purpose. I met a Mahatma Ji. His exercise on Ganga Ghat, his exercise in the morning is to lift those boulders, pick them up and place them on the shores of the bank. Big boulders. And he was what, 67, 68 when I met him. So my question was, Mahatma Ji करते क्यों हो? His point was, शाम में सत्संग होता है, राम जी की आरती होती है, ये ऐसे होंगे तो आरती के लिए आने वालों के लिए कष्ट होगा. I am exercising and doing this. It is not for a selfish purpose, but it is for a higher purpose. And then he says, मैं उठता ही इसलिए हूं. I wake up in the morning only because it is an opportunity to serve Bhagavan and his devotees. Attitude itself has changed. I am not trying to be beautiful or elegant or sophisticated so that people recognize me and wawa karenge. I am being what I am so that I can serve in a better attitude. So doing it selflessly and doing it as an act of dedication or seva to Bhagavan. Uparama titiksha. The next, Shraddha. There is no English translatable equivalent of this word Shraddha. It's a very profound word with a lot of depth and lot of dimension, which no single word in English can translate it into. Is it trust? Is it belief? Is it faith? All of that put together plus much more. Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji puts it very beautifully. He says, having Shraddha having faith in these four places unequivocally is when there is Shraddha complete. Shastra, the Vaidika Sampradaya, the Vedic text, Shastra, having faith in it. It doesn't mean that you follow it blindly. See, you ask a question from faith and without faith. When you ask questions from the platform of faith, it is called enquiry. When you ask the question from the platform of lack of faith, it is called doubt. Having faith doesn't mean you are becoming blind. It gives you the ability to look into those corners with much clearer picture. Doubt puts binding agencies which blinds us off. So Shastra. Guru Vakya. Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya. Why? What is the Guru trying to do? Trying to bring that Shastra in a format which you and I can understand, assimilate and practice. Shastra Guru Vakya. And then Vishwasa in that Bhagavan. Not just left as something printed on the green. In who do we trust? only when it is printed on the green. In God we trust because it is on the dollar. No. With every experience of life, don't doubt Bhagavan. Ishwariya Kripa, don't doubt that. In fact, our mindset should be that if I have landed up in this situation, what is His Kripa and how should I handle it? He has already sent me fully equipped for it. When you and I, when we send our children to a day camp, we will not send them unequipped. Cell phone hoga, battery hoga, lunch hoga, snack hoga, towels होंगे, टिश्यू पेपर होगा, पेपर टवल होगा, नैपकिन होगा, बैग होगा. इफ इट इज ओवरनाइट एक फ्लैशलाइट होगा, उसमें बैटरी होगा. Don't we take care of all of that? When you and I as mortals, we can take care of such detail, do you think He will send us unequipped? If I am in this situation, Bhagavan, you have already equipped. I may not be focusing on the right thing. Let me find what skill sets and what solutions do I have to cater to this situation so that it can be a solution for the situation. Shraddha in Bhagavan. Vishwas in Bhagavan. Even if we have all these three and not have the last one, then we will fail. Recipe for sure failure if we do not have trust in ourselves. So what are the 4 places that we need to have that faith in? Shastra, Guru, Guru Vakya, Ishvara and Atma in one's own self. Then it is called Shraddha. Then called Samadhanam. Samadhanam, to have stability. For some, there is no shortcut. Life experience has to teach us that. Your first child, first time congestion, where did you go to? ER. Chest congestion, first time, सीधा ER. वह रात में रोने बंद ही नहीं होता है. Rush to. By the second child, garam pani lagao, ye lagao, you know that you are more stable. This is not something to be scared of, fearful of. So the pacifier example is what I usually give. First child, the pacifier falls, boiling water, 3-second rule, put it there, 3 seconds, take it out, put it in cold water, plug it back in. Second child, pacifier falls, you pick it up, dust it off, put it back in. Third child, the pacifier falls, you stare at that kid and signal that fellow. Utha, chal muh mein laga, abas. By the third child, you have become now more stabler. Your experience has started. And what is the best way to reach to that stability, to that wisdom? Vriddhopasevaya. Serve the elderly, the most experienced in that particular field. Put your ego aside. Why? क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी. They have gone through those experiences. They have reached to that point. Serve them. You get their wisdom in its applicability. They have spent 30-40 years reaching there. You are getting it in a year of serving them. The smartness, the intelligence, the wisdom, you gain it in serving them. Now, such eligible one when opens up to the outside world, there are only three components: I, the world, and the texture of experience with the world. If I want to improve the texture, we have focused, the Western world has focused on improving the world. Economists, politicians, you name them, scientists, they've tried improving the world. But if the integral part, which is me, if that is not enhanced, the texture of experience will still remain pathetic. What is it that we want as a textural influence with my interaction with the world outside? Smooth, seamless, peaceful, joyous. So who is the factor that can enhance it and bring it? It's not just me. This eligible me, who has Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadamadi, Shat Sampatti, such one alone will have moksha, which is Ananda Karaka. The chapter concludes thus. Now, the exercise that we all have to do is, how eligible am I? I am not talking of eligible bachelor or bachelorette. How eligible am I as a human to face my own life? Do I have the license to drive in my own life's experiences, not hurting anyone nor getting hurt by the world? So that is what we have to evaluate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. In the first session, I forgot asking this. I need some help. I've started packing. That is when I realized I might need a lot of help. If anybody is going to India, specifically to Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai or Vijayawada, can you please reach out to me this summer when if you are leaving, if you are going? Anybody? Amma? हाँ, please text me. Otherwise मैं गाने वाला था अभी, कोई नहीं है. अब के लिए तो उतना ही है. कहाँ जा रहे हैं आप?